Hey crafty people, welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to do some more Christmas cards using the Waffle Flower Postage Collage stamps or dies and some random stamps from my stash. Pretty sure I have a video where I show how I created these. These have been sitting in my stash for like a year. I think I made them last year. I will leave a link to that down below. And yes, in the last video we did some cards using the Waffle Flower Postage Collage dies. This time we're going to do ones where we're just going to use an individual dot piece. Like so, just the snowman, just this guy, that kind of thing. So we're going to get started, and we're going to start with this one. And I need to go back in, and I lost the white on this one. Actually, you know what? Hold on a sec. We may have a solution for that. Because I had some scrap bits from the last video from pieces I cut off. And I was like, I can create a cool cluster using these guys. Like so. But if I shift it and do it this way, which is gonna mess with my brain because I tend to orient towards the right when I make things, probably because I'm right-handed, we could stick that guy in underneath. Let's see how we like that on a card base. Let's see if I can find a piece of white cardstock. All right. If we do it like so, do we like that? Probably shift it over a little bit, but I do like that. But before we glue this down, I want to add some snowflakes falling, and I want to emboss them so that they'll stand out. So let me go grab the stamps I need for this, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've pulled out my snowflake stamps, and this is a really old stamp by Inkadinkado. It's entirely possible it came with these guys. I don't remember. I think these are an Inkadinkado stamps. That might be Stamp Pandas. So I'm just stamping it with Versamark, which is an embossing ink. And the advantage of that is it stays wet longer to give you time to put your embossing powder on. And that's, I use some Tinsel Silver, Stamp and Stuff by Stamp Pandas embossing powder. And I'm going to stamp a couple more snowflakes. I got a few more that are small, cute little guys like that one. Let's do... tapping off any excess. Okay, that one's a poppy stamp. This one's Inkadinkado, and that one's Inkadinkado. I just grabbed the wrong stamp because there was a similar Inkadinkado one, but I grabbed the poppy stamp one. So this was the one I thought I had grabbed. Alright, I'm going to hold these with my tweezers and heat emboss them to set the embossing powder. Alright, let's pull this back over and we can glue him on. Using the squares on my mat to get it centered-ish. Then we'll glue this one over. Like so. And then this piece goes on top. trying to decide there or there. I think there. I'm kind of guesstimating where the glue needs to go, since this piece is longer than this piece. About right. Not too bad on the excess glue on the back. And that's gonna go on a card like so. And I think I am gonna use an embossing folder to emboss the white and just leave that plain. Because that can be a really nice effect just to have something plain white embossed. So I'm gonna do that and I'll be back. Okay, so I've gone ahead and embossed a white piece of cardstock, and this is using a Simon Says stamp embossing folder, and I forgot to leave it out so that I could tell you what its name is. I will leave that information in the description box down below. And we're just gonna go ahead and glue this little cluster on like so. Add a little more glue under here and put the block on. That aside, and we'll pull over. I decided I had some more scrap pieces of inky paper, and this Postage Collage one, which if you watched Monday's video, this was part of. It was from this stencil set by Waffle Flower, and it's one of the Postage Collage coordinating stencils. So we're gonna go ahead and grab, actually before we do this, I am gonna grab a scrap of this because I had a scrap of it on my desk, but it's not wide enough. And let's see, how long is this? It's 3 3/4, and it's not quite a 1/2 inch wide. This piece is a 1/2 inch wide, so let's do three-quarters of an inch-ish. So one oh wait, that's the 3/4 of an inch because that's the 1 inch mark. Okay, that's much better. And again, we're just gonna layer these pieces together. Just trying to decide. I kind of think I want to add some color to the embossed ornaments. Now these are this is a very old Cuttlebug embossing folder. Just trying to decide if I want, I've got Inca gold in greeny yellow, but I don't know that it's very dried out. I've had these forever, but you can generally bring it back to life with a little water. Let's first see if it will actually come back to life. Let's grab a scrap piece of paper Rub a little on. See how we like it against there. Actually, I kind of like it. I think it's gonna work. All right. And I'm gonna go very gently over top of the ornaments just to make them pop a little more from the background. Really looking at this going, I should have done that red stripe piece longer. I think this Inca Gold's about dead. It's getting to the end of its life cycle. I think I want to add a mat to this so that it stands out a little better against the background. So let me clean my hand and then we'll do that. Okay, so this is 1.5 by 3 3/4. So let's go one 3/4. What did I say? 3 3/4 by 4. That is not right. That measurement is, it's 2 3/4. That's why. I'm like, that is not, that looks way too long. That is more than I want. So we're gonna go there and there. That's much better. Glue this piece down, and because this is such thick cardstock, what I think I'm going to do this time around is use foam squares to add that element on. Let's line that up there. I'm going to put this block on for a little while to get that glued down. That one is good to go. While that's sitting, let's move on to this one. I decided I'm going to do the holly berries on here. I want to do a little bit more stamping on this. And I want to bring out the calendar part. And for this, I'm going to grab a distressed crayon. We're gonna go Festive Berries, and I'm gonna do like I did in the last video where I scribble it on the embossed areas and then come in with water on my finger and blend it. I want to bring some green in around the edges. Right, that's gonna go right there. I don't remember what inks I used to stamp this. We're just gonna weigh it. I'm gonna try VersaFine Clear Rainforest and VersaFine Satin Red. And then I'm gonna have to let a dog out because he just came wandering in. And I'm pretty sure he wants to go out, so he's gonna wait a minute. I'm gonna stamp First Class Mail down across the bottom. I want to add, got 25 cents for the price of the stamp. I just got to find it. And then I want to do cancellation on here. And these are Waffle Flower Postage Collage stamps that I've used so far, but I think I'm going to use a darkroom door. This is Merry Mail DDRS 208 for our cancellation. And let's do this one. I'm gonna stamp that there. Kind of feel like I want to ink the edges, which I don't always do with stamps, but I kind of want to ink the edges for this one. Let's go Scorched Timber. I'm thinking it's too white. I think that's why it's kind of bugging me. Let's do just a little antique linen. Stick that under the weight. I'm gonna go let a dog out and then I'll be back. All right, let's put some foam squares on this one. Go with these guys. I think these might be from scrapbook.com. Nope, they are scrapbook adhesives. Probably bought them from scrapbook.com. We're gonna set that one aside. Now I've got that one, and I had another one, and the stamp seems to have disappeared. There it is. And that one. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna create postcards and have these be the stamps on our postcards. So that guy's gonna go there. That guy's gonna go there. And I've got a variety of stamp sets that has like the little post card stampy thing for the top. I think we're going to use this guy from Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous Santa Visit CMS 500, and we're going to stamp it on these two pieces. I think one we're going to stamp in green and one we're going to stamp in red. And because these are red rubber stamps and I'm stamping with VersaFine Clair, I should be okay stamping them. Like, they should stamp good on one go, and I shouldn't need my positioner. I just need to make sure I'm staying on the page. That worked well. Let's clean off the stamp. All right, let's do this one. That came out good. Now let's grab our stamps. I think we're gonna end up inking edges on our stamps. And I'm just trying to decide what color. I think we'll go green for both of them. I think I'm gonna go ahead and glue these on, and then we'll figure out what else we're doing. All right, I think on one of them, we're going to do we're gonna do this in green since we did that in red. Grab this Santa, this one, so that it looks like Santa wrote him back. We're gonna do that in red. We're gonna go with that. Let's do one in green and one in red. I feel like I want the red tree, the red present again. There. Okay, now let's put something on here. The one problem with red rubber, it's like, okay, that's just blob there. All right, we're gonna go with this guy. And I may put a tree next to him. That works, but definitely need more green over there. Works. But now we need to do like the cancellation-y type stuff. So let's grab, got Season's Greetings from the Merry Mail set. We'll do that there. That. one there. And then we need squiggly lines. And then the Waffle Flower Postage Collage has smaller squiggly lines. We've done all this and I'm looking at it going, I think it needs a little grunging. So let's start by inking our edges with Vintage Photo. Then what I'm gonna do is take the stamp block, smush some Vintage Photo on it. Give it a spritz with water. Kind of do this so we got bigger blobs. We'll do actually, I think what I may do is this. Ooh, that got a little bit more on there than I wanted, but that's okay. We're going to give it a light spritzing to kind of get it to shift around a little bit. And then we're going to grab cloth and dab some off. I think I probably should have grabbed something clean because the ink is permanent, so any blendiness is possibly from the cloth. Yeah, I like that. And then we'll do the same thing on this guy, although now we have less ink, and I'm going to try and be a little bit more strategic. Not sure how well my more strategic worked, but there's a few spots that could use a little misty. And again, we're just gonna pat it dry. And that one's done. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got done. We have this one finished. We got that guy done, and this guy using leftover scraps, and then our two postcard style cards. And a quick note about my scheduling for the rest of this week, which today's November 24th, and I am planning to participate to the extent possible in the mass blackout being called for, starting November 25th to December 2nd, which is a call for no shopping except small businesses and no streaming or digital purchases. So as a result, I won't be posting a second video this week, but I will be back again next week with 2 videos. And I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving, as this is also Thanksgiving week. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.